Two boys, one podcast. Two boys, one podcast. Your movie connection. When it's time for reflecting, we make fun of each other. Then do film reviews. Winner or loser. Is this movie right for you? Nope, it sucks. Don't press your luck. You better listen to us. Two boys, one podcast.
Hello, podcast land. We're back again.
I mean, I don't know if people know this, but you work out in podcast land.
Yeah, sure do. The protectorate.
I mean, as usual.
Sort of like it's like Puerto Rico. We're trying to get to statehood.
I mean, if I understand correctly, Puerto Rico voted for statehood, like in favor of it, and no one cared.
Several times.
So, but that, when it passed, I think it passed the last time, and the United States was like, "We'll get to it when we get to it."
We've got a bunch of riders on bills. We need statues.
Yeah, it's fine. It's fine.
In our home state.
We got a lot of
Puerto
dog
Rico.
ears in the bill. By the end of it,
Yeah.
You'll be left with nothing. We're gonna put you on rafts. You're fine.
Yeah. Well, I mean, Puerto Rico's doing great.
Everything that
bad
I've heard
happening.
about indicates, yes, all sign points to great.
All signs point to great. That's what the April said.
Yes.
Hey, what does Puerto Rico mean? Something rich.
Rich port.
Rich port.
Yep.
You mean like wealthy rich or like rich in culture? What do you think?
You know, I don't really know. I'm assuming a lot of buried treasure.
Whew.
There's wealth if you can
Angle.
find it.
Yeah, we got to get down there, man.
I mean, it's really ours for the taking. That's where my head's at.
So it occurs to me. I recently learned how to ride a horse. You recently rode a horse.
Well, so I was going to get to that. In the time that we've recorded, since our last recording, a lot has happened, which is usually the case because we're not actively on a calendar. You had a birthday, and for your birthday, you became a Dothraki blood rider. You're like the last blood rider out there.
What? Well, birthday. Stop it. You're making me blush.
Blush with blood.
I mean, yeah. It's true. Everything you said is true.
That's usually the case.
I am trying to recruit other good Plains horsemen. Are you interested?
You're in luck. Can I bat for both teams? I'm currently leading a one-man group of riders of Rohan. Do I have to forsake my lineage and then join the Blood Rider?
That sounds like a lot of do-good. Are you?
I'm kind of through with do-gooding.
You're through with do-gooding?
Yeah, I'm not even it's not even my blood right. I just kind of they captured me and then I became their king. It's weird.
It's kind of strange out there in Middle Earth, isn't it?
I mean, once you break things down, things get weird no matter what Earth you're living in.
Yes, you say what Earth you're living in?
Yep.
Yeah. Earth 3, things are pretty normal there. Pretty great too.
That's not true. Earth 3 was destroyed.
Yeah, no, Earth 3 is great. It's the best Earth there is.
The memory of Earth 3 is a fleeting thing.
Well, the memory of it. I don't know. You heard the news about Earth 2.
It would be news to me if I'd heard it.
It rules. Earth 3 rules, man.
I mean, it's always... I feel like it's a good indication. If you're the victor, you become the villain. So I'm happy to wear the villain cloak on this one.
Oh, what's that Batman quote? Either you die the hero, or you live long enough to be the villain.
Yep, there you go.
Is that it?
Yep, I was thinking, where does he get all those wonderful toys? And that's not the same one. But I have danced with the devil on the Pale Moonlight. Same director. Yep. Same director. Because the reference that living long enough to be the villain was was Christopher Walken
Alfred.
speaking to Cobblepot? Or no, it was in the new Batmans.
No, that's in the new Batman.
Oh, so
yeah, you're a dingus.
you got me with the same director reference. You made me question my own reality.
Well, I was about to quit. No, I think you're wrong because that's Jack Nicholson. Your quote, right?
Yeah. Yep.
So it's the same. The quotes are in the same. Have the same character in the movie, but they're different directors, different Batmans.
Yes.
Different Jokers.
Different Batmen, different Jokers.
Anyways, we digress. Why don't you go ahead and just leave the Rohinian?
Okay, I'll be your subservient Blood Rider.
Come on over here to Podcast Land and
Blood Riders Unite. So you're being trained in forestry to not use four-wheelers, and they're giving you horses instead. Is that right?
Yeah, that's a good point. I never really thought of that. Yeah, that's it.
And correct me if I'm wrong, you had a full-on Robin Hood Men in Tights moment, right?
Good. Men in Tights, maybe.
Men in Tights moment,
no.
Right? You were holding on, but you were riding on the wrong side of the wrong, like the upside down of the horse.
Yep.
Yeah.
It was.
That
My head
sounds.
was just hitting the ground.
I mean, it's a good thing that you were on facing forward, because if you'd been facing backwards and fallen upside down, you'd have a full-on zoo on your hands.
Yeah. I'm grateful for that.
It's the silver lining. It's always the silver lining.
I mean, even the way facing forward, it could still be a zoo situation. So.
Well, that's true, but at least in your instance, it didn't happen. He was not the aggressor.
I say nay.
Yeah, always say nay. Nay means no.
I say nay.
Yeah,
it really scrambled my marbles, Zeke. I was already a little bit off kilter, and now, good Lord.
Well,
good luck, world.
It's not great, losing your saddle off of a horse. It's not ever a great feeling. So.
I mean, she kind of made me mad.
I mean, that's one thing I think we shared in our. You have an ongoing experience as a writer. My experience, is hopefully behind me now. I was 2 weeks on, and every time I mounted up, I was just gritting my teeth. And I don't know what the horses' real names were, but I referred to them as Glue Pot. And they just have to live with that.
Yeah, that horse that I fell off. I sent them straight to the glue factory on principle.
I mean, there's nothing like a good paste. That's what I found.
There's nothing like a good paste. Can agree on that, huh?
I mean, we're on the same Blood Rider team now, so we'll have to agree on more.
That's right. What are we going to do when you want to take over leadership?
I believe we have Jorah Mormont play the moderator and the referee.
Back from the dead.
Yep. I mean, Catelyn did it. He can too.
What kind of a name is Jorah? Jorah?
I feel like they were trying to say Zorro, but they had a speech impediment.
That must be it.
Yeah, that only makes sense to me.
I'm with you. I guess I am.
I mean, we're in it together now. Blood Riders forever. The last two Dothraki. It's not much of a horde, but.
Well, I mean, we can go fight some White Walkers, all of us, and then.
Nah.
All die.
The way that ended, hell with it. I'm only with you as long as we're riding with the White Walkers. I'm happy to join them. Burn it down, I say.
Yeah, you know what? Yeah, you're right. What good have humans done?
Yeah, literally none.
Walkers.
Let's just
you
join
know what?
up.
It's time for the White Walkers. Have their day.
It's their turn. It's their turn to reign.
It's their turn.
Yeah.
Oh, hey Val. I told you I'd say hello. Shout out to one of our listeners. Zeke, say hi to Val.
Hi, Val.
Okay, taken care of.
We have
listening.
We have loyal listeners.
Yeah, there's a couple. You ever run into one in the wild?
I never have. No.
It's pretty weird, man.
Yeah.
It's pretty weird. somebody asking you out of the blue about the podcast? You're like, holy shit, I kind of forgot I do that.
That's awesome. I mean, we kind of forget that we do that, let alone the listeners. So good for them.
But anyways, Val, thank you so much.
Yeah. Well, do we want to just dive into?
I got one more thing. One more thing I want to say. Is that okay?
I mean, yeah. If you want to get around to it, that'd be great.
Yeah. Oh, get around to telling you what it is?
Yeah.
I mean, I can get around to it. Is that what you want?
Whenever. I don't want to talk you out of it.
I mean, I guess I could.
Whenever you're ready.
You think I should?
I'd wait until next podcast.
No, I kind of...
You had your heart set on it now?
We should talk about it now.
Okay. All right, let's do it.
Are you ready?
I am now.
I've decided that when you get married, I have to be your best man when I'm going to powerbomb you through your stupid wedding table. You can tell Sam. If you want to choose him, you're getting powerbombed too. And if you try to keep me out, I'm going to powerbomb everybody too.
So you're saying
tables, okay?
You're saying that right now.
You're my last chance at best man. So you better.
Yeah, as of this moment.
You better fucking choose me.
As of this moment, if I invite you to be part of the wedding, but not the best man,
no,
you'll play the part, and you'll sit at the front table. But then you'll go up top to whatever balcony there is, and you'll powerbomb the front table.
I'm going to take the table and powerbomb the table.
I mean, like you'll jump down on us while we're eating.
Yeah, I mean that's not a powerbomb, but yeah, sure, I'll do it. I can't think of any of those names, but I'll do it. Flying shoulder.
Oh. I thought the powerbomb was when you jumped off the top.
You're an idiot.
I am.
No, it's
clearly.
It's when you take the guy's head, put it, or gal's head, you put it between your legs, right? They're bent over.
Oh, I got you.
And then you take them, you put their legs between, over your head, on your shoulders, and then you. Yeah.
I got you. That's gonna feel great on a concrete floor.
I mean, it can all be avoided.
That's true. That's on me.
Yep.
I mean, it's really
the movie.
It's
we
really
get to the movie, but you've been warned.
It's really on whatever sad soul I propose to down the road. Like whatever desperate person has given up on hope.
Why does she get to? Oh, shut up.
and then she's like, well, I guess if those are my options, then yes.
It's my options. Well, it's either Zeke or die lonely and alone.
Yeah, those are the options.
Okay, well, when you find her, you tell her.
And it's jokes because a lot of times being with me means being lonely and alone. So there's that too.
I mean, that's a really depressing thing to think. I hope you don't actually think that because it's not true. But I do, from now on, let's just nip this in the bud. Anytime you meet a girl from now on, just say, hi, Rob's going to be my best man. That's the first thing you say.
Before we go any further, I just got to tell you who my best man will be.
I don't even want you to ask me for her name or say hello. Walk up to a girl and say, Rob's going to be my best man. Okay?
Okay. All right. Then every time I meet a new lady friend, I'll be like, Rob. I'm just gonna. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna be like, hang on. I'm gonna give the phone to you, so you can talk to Rob, and he's gonna lay out all the groundworks.
I can't wait. Hello, man. I know you just met, but you're gonna get married someday to this guy. And if I'm not the best man, you're all getting powerbombed through your stupid fucking tables at your wedding.
I almost want to go meet somebody new just so we can act this out.
Yeah, do it. Go.
I'll be right back.
Let's go.
So, all right.
Oh, did you find one?
Oh no, not yet. I was just thinking, like you said, I was your last hope. I feel like when we could kidnap Nick, and you'd have two options.
I mean, there are, but Oh, I'm gonna sound like a terrible, terrible person. But I think you're the most likely to get hitched, man.
Well, that's a sad state for all of us.
Yeah, kind of weird being our age. Ain't going on.
I mean, certainly other people say that. I mean, we all have our reasons for it, but at the same time, socially, it is a little awkward for people to accept that.
Yeah. It's pretty great though, because then you and I can just eat chicken and watch movies. You know.
I mean, it really works out to our benefit. I think. Like, we don't have to ask anybody else. Like, hey, we're gonna go do this. Like all of my other friends and your other friends, like, oh well, it'd be easier if you brought a date. I'm like, no, I just want to hang out. Why do you have to bring your lady? So.
Next time we watch one together, I will bring a date.
And then I feel like anytime I have one, you're just going to have a questionnaire that she needs to sign.
I am. I need to check out all your... It's for your own good. I just want to make sure...
No, I appreciate that. I do.
Where do you?
Yes, totally. Yes, have some.
He. It can be a he, too. I don't judge.
I mean, either way, I feel like I look forward to documenting the reaction for the questionnaire you have ready for them.
Yeah, very good. All right, I guess we... is there any more you want to say about that?
No, I think I'm good.
Do you know what a horse's hoof beats sound like?
I'm all too familiar as of late, but I want to hear it anyway.
Sure. Yeah, well, this is what I think they sound like. Zig, 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 awake, it's time for the next segment. Zig, 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 awake, it's time for the next segment. Let's talk about a movie, this one's called Dark. Little Rainy there too. It's actually pretty good. Let's talk about it now. Yeah.
Do you want to do the actual summary, or do you want to say what it should have been called?
It's been so long since we've done this, I forgot to pull it up.
So I have it pulled up. I'll read it,
yeah.
And then if you want to do your own synopsis. So,
Sure.
Peyton Westlake is a scientist who has discovered a way to produce synthetic skin. This could revolutionize skin grafting, except for one minor glitch. The synthetic skin degenerates after 100 minutes of exposure. Degrades after 100 minutes of exposure to light. When gangsters attack Peyton, he is horrifically burnt and assumed dead. In his quest for revenge, Peyton, aka the Darkman, is able to take on the appearance of anyone using this synthetic skin, but he only has 100 minutes per disguise. There you go.
I mean, that's actually pretty good.
You're just going to stick with that?
What would you add? I think that actually nailed it pretty good.
I'd say awkward science guy, gets two-faced, gets angry, gets even, runs into Little Raimi and the Big Chin, runs into Little Raimi, kills Little Raimi, becomes Big Chin. The end.
Yeah. That's it. I guess we're done podcast.
That's a wrap, folks. Yeah. So,
Rappy.
You had not seen this before, right?
No, I had not. I'd seen, I don't know, maybe 5 minutes of it at some point somehow, but no, I'd not seen it.
So,
surprisingly.
I don't remember how this came to be, but this had been I've owned this for 3 cars, and for one of them it spent its entire existence just riding around in the trunk. Because I think we planned on watching it together, or I bought it for you and never gave it to you. Like, I don't remember how that discussion started.
You jerk! Why did you give me my gift?
I mean, I don't give you your gifts. I tell you about them and never send them.
That's true.
That's how it goes.
Still waiting on Christmas.
Yep. I'm looking at it right now.
It's pretty good. Pretty good looking.
I mean, it's very attractive, yeah.
Yep.
So, I don't know how that happened, but it was the trilogy. I picked it up from Pawn America, and
sure.
And it's literally been traveling with me now for years and years and years without mostly my knowledge of it. I just happen to remember every once in a while, oh yeah, that's in the trunk.
Sure. So that's part of you.
Yeah, I mean, it's like a prosthetic skin that I've grown. So.
Boy, did it degrade after 100 minutes once you took it out of the trunk?
Definitely not. I mean, the darkness probably prolonged its life, but it managed to age into being able to work with light.
Adaptation.
Yeah.
Hell of a thing.
Hell of a thing.
Hell of a thing.
So we connected this week from Christopher Doyle of
Christopher CD. Yep.
Fred from
Look Back. Yep. From Cannibal Women and
Avocado Jungle of Death.
It's pretty wild. We were able to link to a movie we intended to watch back when we were just college kids.
Little tadpoles of life. I don't remember who Christopher Doyle was in Avocado Jungle, and I certainly did not recognize him in this one.
He was Fred.
But there are hundreds of people in this movie, so...
Yeah. He was there.
He was there somewhere. He was probably one of the nunchuckers. I hope that's who he was.
I did too.
So at the very beginning of the film, there's some weird, union fight. And the union walks out, and they all have weapons. Brass knuckles, revolvers. 2 people had nunchucks. And then they have it out with this gangster who's, making him pay protection or something. I
think that's what I gathered, yeah.
I don't really know why it happened. I just know that it happened. And there were 2 people with nunchucks, and I was like, man, I hope that one of those is our dude. But I have no idea if it was or not.
What do you really care?
I don't.
Do you try to spot our links?
I mean, I just try to pay attention to who they were. Yeah.
Oh. Why?
I don't know. So I have something more relevant to talk about during the podcast.
I mean, you're making sense.
Which is counterproductive to our entire program.
Who gives? Nobody's fucking listening.
That's true.
So
this film, Liam Neeson so they classify this as an action film.
Oh, that's interesting.
They say it's his first action film.
His first action film. Okay, all right.
And this is a 1990 movie that a lot of moving parts here. So Sam Raimi was passed over because of Tim Burton getting to direct Batman. So Sam Raimi wants to...
Sam almost got Batman?
Sam almost got Batman.
I didn't know that either.
And then he wanted to make...
so much better.
I don't think so. Batman 1 and 2 were fantastic.
I know, sir. I know, sir.
No, and this is a perfect example of why I'm right.
Let's hear it.
So then he wants to...
balls today.
Then he wants to make The Shadow. But for whatever reason, he can't get the rights to The Shadow. Which, now that I think about it, is probably because they made a version of that with Alec Baldwin, which just dawned on me right now. Because I was like, why wouldn't they give up the rights to The Shadow? No one knows who that is unless they're over 60. But Alec Baldwin did play The Shadow in another weird movie around this time.
Yeah, and then they cut out the one guy's frontal lobe so he couldn't do stuff. I remember.
I have not seen it.
Oh.
And I love The Shadow, and I've still never seen it.
Just kind of... Oh, so then he went from The Shadow to Darkman.
So then he wrote a short story that this is based on, and then it went through 12 iterations of script that he wrote with his brothers and some other Michael Pfeffer. But then he wants Bruce Campbell, his boy, to play the Darkman, and the studio's like, no. So he goes out and gets the more famous Liam Neeson, and then at the end of the film, he still turns him in to Bruce Campbell. But what I don't get is...
little fuck you to the studio, I guess.
Sort of, but it's also got to be a little fuck you to Bruce Campbell, because this is part 1 of a trilogy, and Sam didn't direct the other 2, and Liam didn't return for the other 2, but they're still not played by Bruce Campbell. So, whatever. It was a weird... So the best way I can describe this film that people will understand it is it's kind of like Batman. It's kind of like Dick Tracy, which came out the same year.
Yep.
And then it's kind of like Mission Impossible, where all they do is change mask faces. And then you kind of get the movie, except in the middle of it is a character very similar to Two-Face who's hell-bent on revenge, and his lady friend, played by Frances McDermott, can't bear to look at him, kind of thing. So he's basically it was a little bit deeper. They did a really good story arc for him. Like, he became comfortable in his own burned skin by the end of it, but he'd also become a different person. So it wasn't just that she didn't want to look at him. He was not the scientist that she loved anymore.
No.
Now he was basically a vigilante murderer, out for blood.
I would throw The Fly in there. I suppose you've not seen it. But...
I have not seen it.
Yeah.
I hear good things. I would also like to say that the doctors who treated him in this film were terrible doctors. Like, one doctor poked a pin into him, just so that she could prove that he didn't feel anything. And she was played at the recommendation of John Landis. She was played Jenny Agutter. Agutter? I don't know how you say her name. Anyway, she sticks a 3-inch pin into his arm and smiles. Yeah. She's like, "See, he can't feel anything." Yeah. And all this while, he's spinning like a clock from Dark City, upside down, right side up. It's basically some sort of torture chamber.
Yeah. Boy, yeah, I don't know if I got that unconscious kind of, well.
That scene, that one scene there really reminded me a lot of Deadpool 1. Where they're doing the science experiments to make them into super slaves.
Yeah, it's been a long time since I've seen Deadpool 1, so I can't say as I can.
Yeah. But this is...
I believe it.
This has a lot of, like, the 3D printing from Mission Impossible. It involves a bad love proposal. Accident turns him essentially into a leper, and he can feel no pain, which means he's the most dangerous soldier known to man.
Yeah, we don't mess with those. Give him a meat hook, and
he's unstoppable.
Hop on the ship.
Not even cats love him. Unfortunately for him, he was the only person known to mankind who only had one photo of himself, so he had to rebuild it with parts of his cheek so that the mask would print. And it took 24 days to print a mask and thousands of Petri dishes.
Looked good, though, did it?
It did. It looked just like Liam Neeson by the end of it. Just like him.
Just like Liam.
The one thing I didn't quite understand about how those masks worked is in the fight scene at the end when he's being shot at with they call it a bazooka or like a rocket launcher in the credits, but I'm not sure what you'd call it. I think it's more of a grenade launcher. And the bad guy pulls his head off, or pulls his face off. He had his bandages underneath it. Like, what? What?
That's his look, man.
What? That doesn't make any sense.
And why does he still need the bandages? I mean,
right.
You heal up. I mean, you're scarred terribly, but you don't have to wear bandages.
Had a lot of questions about that. Yeah. I don't know. I mean, what were your thoughts?
I really like Raimi's films. Something about his film style. Most of my notes are really on the production, to be honest. I really like. Yeah, sure. His work's really close-up heavy. I don't know if you noticed that.
Very much so.
His other stuff. I don't know what it is. It's just so different, I guess. But it's not like crazy different. But it's just enough to catch your attention. He does some good opacity work. I can't remember exactly what it was.
I mean, they did a lot of those weird cut things where they they splice around the person, and then you zoom into an eye and have an explosion, and then you zoom out of an eye.
Yeah. That's cool, man.
I mean, you could definitely tell if you watched this film and had seen Evil Dead, you'd be able to tell that this was directed by Raimi.
No, that was one of my. I think it'd been. I don't know. Watching it, I don't think it's such a great movie, but just it being Raimi and like seeing that camera work reminded me of the Evil Deads, I guess, or something. So it really bumped it up in my book.
And the Danny Elfman did the score, and then the prosthetics that they used for the hands and the scarring on the face, like all of those things just drew me back to Evil Dead from the beginning. So very similar. I honestly think if you like the Evil Dead franchise, you would like Darkman.
I'm here to tell you that's true.
Yeah.
Do you happen to know? This must have been before Evil Dead 2, maybe?
I have the timeline pulled up here. Let me look.
Okay, I'm trying to, off the top of my head, he did Evil Dead. And then there was the Hudsucker Proxy.
Yes, this is 3 years after Evil Dead 2.
This is 3 years after. Okay, but he's still fresh on that.
So I didn't realize he did Hudsucker Proxy. I thought that was the Coen brothers.
Double check me on that. He directed it. I think he co-wrote it with one of the brothers.
Because the Coen brothers also did a script pass on this movie, and they made a cameo.
I believe we talked about this when we did Evil Dead 2, but Raimi and one of the Coen brothers, I think one of the Coen brothers edited Evil Dead 1.
Oh, I think I vaguely remember that. But I mean, Frances is the lead lady of Darkman is married to one of the Coens, so that makes sense that they'd be close.
Is she? I didn't know that either. Oh my gosh.
So Hudsucker Proxy was written by the two Coen brothers and Sam.
Yeah. Who was it directed by?
Joel and Ethan Coen.
Son of a bitch, I was wrong. Well, he was involved. At least I knew that, huh?
Yeah, I mean, you got closer than I totally passed over that. But because you remembered to bring it up, it reminded me that they were actually extras in this. And they drive the Oldsmobile that hits Darkman as he's hanging from the helicopter.
I remember that scene. I don't think I really know what Joel and Ethan look like well enough to
even if
ever
you knew,
them.
You would not be able to tell in the scene.
Okay.
They're in it for 3 seconds, and it is like the camera zooms in over the course of those 3 seconds, and then he smashes into the windshield and streaks over the hood. That's literally it. Without reading the trivia, I would not have known anything.
Sure.
So all I know is that he's a leper on the loose, and he's dark.
On the loose. Look out for the fog. I did have one small issue.
Hit me.
Remember when he flew out of that window into the lake?
Yes.
I mean, it seems like he could have fallen into a gazebo, you know?
I feel like a boot should have fallen off, and he fell into a gazebo. Absolutely. I 100% agree.
That was really a missed opportunity as far as I'm concerned.
I agree. I mean, this film, you could definitely tell drew from, even though it was only a year-ish prior with Batman 1, this was very similar to how that film was put together. Like just the explosions, the flying bodies, and
really the style in general.
The style in general, absolutely. So, but I mean, I do think that I don't know what The Shadow compares, other than the fact that this was hopeful. It was a hopeful Shadow movie that didn't get acclaim. But I'd put it, like it's one of those more unknown superhero films, kind of like The Phantom. But I'd say that between Dick Tracy and Batman and Darkman, since they came out within a year, that the order, like Dick Tracy's very campy, more campy than the other two are. But I think that Batman's influence definitely rubbed off. And you kind of get that structure. It's like Batman, Dick Tracy are the famous ones, and then Darkman's just kind of a product of its environment. But it's still pretty fun.
Yeah, it is. I agree.
It is different to see, I guess, Raimi is arguable for a lot of things like what he's known for now. But it was weird for me to view this as an action hero film from a horror director.
It's not really what it is.
No.
That's misgenreified for sure. It's
Yeah.
I mean, plenty of action in it,
but even as a hero film, I wouldn't even classify him as a hero. It's more of...
he's an anti-hero.
Yeah, it's more of a horror film where the guy is killing bad guys instead of innocent victims. Like, there's really not a hero of the story. It's just a kind of let them kill themselves off, and then he goes away. I don't know.
I think that's very fair.
I guess Frances's character, she lives, I don't know, happily ever after, but both of the men she loved in this, one's, dead, and the other one is dying from the inside out. It's tough to say. I don't know. I was really hoping he'd go full rampage through the hospital, but that didn't happen.
Yeah, I was too.
I did like that he kind of poor man waterboarded Lil Raimi and then shoved him up through a manhole.
We need to talk about Lil Raimi.
We got it. I mean, he breaks off like a sewage pipe and then kind of waterboards him in the sewer and then shoves his head up through a manhole cover and holds it there until a truck runs over him.
Pretty cool.
Pretty classy. Pretty classy.
I like that.
Yep.
I like that Sam's always killing his brother off.
Dan, who doesn't listen to our podcast, that's what he always says. Like, if you ever get to make big movies, I want to be the guy that dies first. So I hope that Lil Raimi gets a kick out of it, because at least this one he didn't die right away.
That's true.
I don't know.
Didn't say he died right away. I said
no. He always ends up frequently dying or playing like a witch that dies or something. It's yeah. And he's got another brother, right? That is an actual doctor.
Yeah, probably. I don't know.
I think there is one that actually played a doctor in that medical tent. So.
Dr. Raimi.
Doctor.
Yeah.
So overall, I think it was. I'm glad we watched it. Got it out of the trunk, so that's good.
I would say I guess we've been watching some terrible stuff lately.
I mean, we say that a lot, and yet we always continue down the rabbit hole of hell.
Yeah, me too. But so Fog was good, but then looking back, bad. So this was okay.
This was okay. You wanna rate it?
Yeah, sure. Section of the song, I'm gonna give it. Section, I'm gonna give it a good old Friday night romp. All your favorite stuff. Not the best you ever had, but pretty good. Pretty good little Friday night. How about you?
So the price wasn't on here, but I think we'll just say it was $6 upon, and
I rented it for $3.99.
It's the trilogy that I got.
Oh, okay, yeah. Okay.
So I'll just say that I spent $1.99.
As we can.
Yeah, I'll say that I spent $1.99. I mean, that's certainly worth it, but I can't justify giving it a 100%.
Give it 100%. No,
yeah. So we'll say you spent $2.99 on it.
$3.99.
$3.99. We'll say I spent $3.99 on it. I would say I'd spend $2.99 to watch this film, to rent it. Yeah. So that's 75%.
75%. Yeah, I'd say we're both 75%.
Yeah, I think that's a pretty fair assessment of it.
Yeah.
I don't know that I have any interest in
seeing. It's
seeing.
When I think about it, like compared to all movies ever, 75% is too high for it.
Yes.
Compared to the movies we watch.
Yeah, absolutely. Within the context of this podcast, yeah.
75, no doubt.
Like more of that, I was curious to see it anyway. I won't say that I'll never watch it again. I have no interest in seeing the rest of the trilogy. But I think that this one was, it was a good movie.
It's a good film.
It was good.
It was good. Yeah.
Which brings us to the next segment of our podcast.
What's that?
Kalima! Choose your death. So.
Okay.
Sorry.
Yeah, see? You see, it happens to you, too. It's the first time I heard you call from me.
Yeah, I threw it high, and that does worse than the low. All right.
Well,
so
I
there.
can do the high better.
Yeah, well, between the two of us, we're unstoppable. So there are a lot of connections to this film because Liam Neeson's in it with Francis. I have 9 pulled up. I'm not going to read all of them to you.
9, geez.
There's one that I really hope you pick because it seems awesome, but I'm not going to guide you towards it. So first off is a connection from Liam Neeson. It's a film called Ruby Cairo from 1992, and it stars Viggo Mortensen, Liam Neeson, and Andie MacDowell. After her businessman husband dies suspiciously in a Mexican plane crash, his widow begins to investigate his labyrinthian financial dealings, not all of which were legal.
Oh, my goodness.
Right? Hard to know. Palookaville is a Francis McDermott. Jerry and his 2 pals, Russ and Sid, are just looking for some easy money to help them break out of their nowhere lives in their nowhere town. Despite a bungled jewelry store heist, which exposes their incompetence as criminals, as a fateful event on an old black and white film convinces them that they can pull off an armored truck robbery while they are busy plotting their caper. Their dysfunctional families spin out of control all around them.
Okay.
All right, and then as a connection from Jenny Agutter, however you say her name, the evil nurse lady. There's a cartoon called Fro 7. Freddy.
Fro? Like Afro?
Fro 7. The story about a man-sized frog named Prince Frederick, who was turned into a frog by his wicked aunt Messina and hired by British intelligence to solve the mysterious disappearances of some of Britain's greatest monuments. Several hundred years later, Freddy is now living in modern-day Paris, a 6-foot-tall amphibian with the moniker Secret Agent FRO 7. Messina, too, is still around causing mischief, joining forces with an arch villain named El Supremo in a scheme to shrink Big Ben. Freddy, alerted to Messina's nefarious plans, gathers his fellow agents, Daffers and Scotty, together, planning to hide out in Big Ben and surprise the evildoers when they are set to strike in the much-loved British landmark.
We don't even need to watch the movie.
That sounds great. All
That's
right.
everything.
Next up, we have High Spirits, 1988, which is another Francis connection. When a hotelier attempts to fill the chronic vacancies at his castle by launching an advertising campaign that falsely portrays the property as haunted, 2 actual ghosts show up and end up falling for the 2 guests.
Oh, gosh.
And last, but certainly not least, is Kroll, 1983.
I've seen it.
Oh, all right. Well, that's off the list. Let's see what else we have.
Kroll is terrible, by the way.
Well, I put it on there because I thought you would actually like it. So.
Yeah, it's something you would think I would, but it's just one of those ones that seems like it's going to be real cool, and then it's not. It's like pretty much everything you watch.
Right. So last but not least, then, in its place, is The Bounty, 1984. Fed up with their captain's harsh discipline, a sailing ship's crew decides to take action, starring Anthony Hopkins and Mel Gibson.
Yeah. I mean, we've done a couple of boat movies, The Fog, Pirates.
Pirates. Yes.
And we've done a frog movie.
We've done frogs.
There's no explanation. It's just frog. Okay.
Yeah, the sequel is the explanation point. There's a full.
We've talked about that, dude. They know. They know it. I mean, which one do you think I'm going to pick? I want to pick.
I think you want to pick the the cartoon frog.
You're goddamn right, I do. What's the one you want to see?
I mean, I'm honestly down. We've talked about Fro 7 before.
I don't recall it.
But the one that when I saw it was an option, I was like, oh my God, was Ruby Cairo.
That's
Andy McDowell, Liam Neeson, and Viggo Mortensen.
Andy McDowell. Who's Andy McDowell?
She's from Sex, Lies, and Videotape.
Yeah. The Back to the Future, right?
No,
Yeah.
Not the same one. Let me take a look here. She is also from Groundhog Day.
Yeah, right. Okay, now I got it.
Yep.
Okay. What's it called? Ruby Cairo?
Ruby Cairo. So, in a little tidbit of backstory, it opened with a dismal result. So they recut it with 21 added minutes and changed the title to Deception.
Yeah, I'm sure that's really helped them out.
Yeah.
What's the old IMDb giving her?
That one has a 5 out of 10. The one I
choose Ruby Cairo.
Ruby Cairo. Are you sure over Fro 7? Because Fro 7 really got your goat there.
I tell you what.
That has a 5.2 out of 10. We're staring down the same barrel.
It's better. I tell you what. You got to promise me that we will watch Fro 7 just another time. But
as part of the podcast, because it's come up before, or just in general.
If it does, we can do it in a podcast, but we just have to watch it. That's all I want.
I promise to watch it. But how about this? I make you a deal that if we can connect it going forward, either one of us, if we do Ruby Cairo, if Fro 7 is a connection that we can make, we just have it's automatic. We have to pick it.
We don't even have a choice.
Yep. We have to take Fro 7.
Okay. All right. Deal.
Because before, when it came up, I didn't think it came up in the same one as that Golden Lady, and I looked and I couldn't find it to buy anywhere. There is a free version of that on YouTube. So down the road, I'm down. So if we go Ruby Cairo this week, you're saying, and then down the road, Fro 7 is a must.
Yeah, and if we can't ever link it, it'll show up when we're 40 years old, which isn't that long anymore. And
that's true. We're getting close.
Yeah.
We're almost there.
Anyways, yeah. Almost there. Holy shit, we're almost at an hour.
Yep.
We've been doing so well lately.
We have been. So, I mean, looking at the cast list for Fro 7, we're going to be able to do it. We've never done a cartoon before, so.
That's true.
The last time it came up as an option was through Jonathan Pryce for that dystopian, terrible trilogy.
Yeah.
So, all right, well, that brings us to the close, then.
The close. We're wearing clothes? Is that what you're saying?
You might be.
Doing it in the nude, are you?
I mean, you tell me there's a better way to record a podcast, and I'm all ears.
I won't do it.
I shan't. I won't.
Well, okay, love you, bye.
Okay, love you, bye. Don't be a sucker.
That's life.
The portions of today's broadcast that you actually enjoyed are brought to you in whole by...
Come in. You'll catch your death.
Thank you. It's awful outside.
You must be freezing. Would you like me to draw a bath for you?
That would be delightful.
Of course, sir. Right this way.
Oh, this feels amazing. I left my toiletries bag in the room, though. Do you...
Not to worry. It's all part of our comprehensive service.
What's wrong with this soap? It hasn't been used before, has it?
No, sir. Brand new. It's our heavy scented shot through the heart soap. Bestseller in our bone soap collection.
Bone soap?
It'll clear your head.
I think I'd prefer to use my usual shampoo. I have very delicate hair.
Wrong head, sir.
Excuse me?
That head. That's where your head's at.
What? You don't expect me to... In a bathhouse? With you?
No, sir. Though I am required to lend a hand if asked, it is not at my pleasure to do so.
Nevertheless, you expect me to?
It's very popular, sir. Our bestseller.
Well, when in Rome.
Indeed, sir. This is not Rome.
Yes, I was, thank you. Could you move my things, and take them back to my room, along with another bar of this top cellar?
It is my privilege, sir. Garson! Get your head out of the gutter and into our clean butter. Grab your buds and hit the suds with our new lavender lather. Bone soap. It'll clean you from head to head.
All right, cool.
It's a little confusing.
Yeah, it's all over the place.
Very good. They'll love it.
Yeah, they're going to eat it
Everyone's
up.
gonna buy it. Yeah.
Top seller, top seller.